We expect our leaders to be good. We demand generosity, mercy, and absolute honesty. But look closely at those who govern strictly by these codes. They are almost always overthrown, betrayed by their allies, or conquered by neighboring states. Operating with perfect virtue in a world filled with self-interested people is a fatal vulnerability. To survive, you have to play by a different set of rules. The political landscape of Florence in 1512 was defined by chaotic regime changes. Niccolo Machiavelli, a dedicated civil servant and diplomat, found himself caught in the crossfire. When the ruling Medici family returned to power, they accused him of conspiracy, tortured him, and stripped him of his office before banishing him to a rural farm. In exile, he spent his days covered in dirt from the countryside, but at night he would take off his peasant clothes, put on his formal court dress, and read through history to speak with the men of antiquity. He was looking for the raw, unvarnished mechanics of power. By 1513, he had distilled his findings into a short manual called The Prince. It stripped every ounce of romanticism away from leadership. His core thesis was political heresy. To maintain order and survive, a ruler must learn how not to be good and how to use wrong when necessary. Take the expectation of generosity. A noble ruler is supposed to be liberal with their wealth, rewarding subjects and spending freely on the public. A central state treasury is emptied by public generosity. Maintaining this reputation requires massive spending, rapidly draining the funds. To refill the pool, the ruler must extract wealth directly from the people, levying heavy taxes, weighing down citizens, and generating intense public hostility. Machiavelli argues the exact opposite of convention. It is vastly safer to accept the reputation of being a miser. By holding tightly to your revenues, you ensure the state can defend itself without extorting its people. Sparing the masses from heavy taxation creates long-term stability, proving that frugality is highly pragmatic. Another common shortcut is the use of mercenaries. Hiring an external professional army seems like an efficient way to win a war without sacrificing your own people. But there is a fatal flaw in the structure of a hired force. These soldiers have zero loyalty to the state. Their only motivation is a modest paycheck, which is rarely enough to make a man willing to die for you. This creates a dual threat. If the mercenary captains are unskilled, you lose the battle. If they are highly capable, they will realize they hold all the military leverage and will eventually turn their weapons against your government to satisfy their own ambition. Machiavelli points to the biblical story of David refusing King Saul's armor before fighting Goliath. David knew that borrowed weapons either weigh you down, fall off your back, or bind you fast. Genuine political security can only exist when a state is defended by forces drawn from its own citizens. Relying on the arms of others is a guarantee of eventual ruin. This brings up the ultimate question for any leader. Is it better to be loved or to be feared? Consider the historical case of Cesare Borgia. When he conquered the region of Romagna, he inherited a territory plagued by robbery, factional violence, and total lawlessness. To force peace onto the region, Borgia appointed Ramiro d'Orco, a swift and brutal military governor, granting him absolute power to crush the local warlords. Ramiro succeeded. He restored order in a matter of months, but his severe methods bred a deep, simmering hatred among the local citizens. Knowing this hatred could eventually destabilize his rule, Borgia made a calculated pivot. One morning, he had Ramiro executed and left his body chopped in half in the public square with a bloody knife left by his side. The spectacle left the people completely stunned. They were satisfied to see their immediate oppressor destroyed, yet utterly terrified of the supreme power Borgia wielded. By executing one brutal minister, Borgia bypassed years of chaotic civil war and secured a unified state. His calculated use of cruelty actually saved lives, proving that a well-managed fear guarantees order much more reliably than love ever could. Listening to these methods today feels uncomfortable. On the surface, the rules sound wicked, cynical, and devoid of humanity. But the goal wasn't to promote evil for the sake of it. Machiavelli was trying to navigate the extreme fragility of human institutions. He recognized that fortune is volatile and human loyalty is highly conditional. In his framework, the highest moral imperative is the survival and stability of the state. Protecting the community from foreign invasion or internal collapse simply supersedes conventional individual morality. Look at modern geopolitics, corporate warfare, or high-stakes electoral campaigns. The exact same pragmatism drives decision-making at the highest levels today. Despite centuries of technological progress, human nature remains remarkably constant. As Machiavelli noted, people are still the dupes of their own simplicity and greed. You do not have to like the harsh reality he described, but if you ignore these unwritten rules of power, you guarantee that you will fall victim to those who do understand them.